And just think about the waltz, just the grace of the waltz, the sort of the aristocratic, the aesthetic quality, the grand quality. That was a new dance. You know, previous to that, they had things like the minuet. You know, formal sort of dance. With the waltz, you really get some movement and swing around, and boy, you better have a good sense of balance, because you whirl around. And the waltz was the great export of Austria of this period, of Vienna of this period. So the leading figure, of course, is Johann Strauss. And he's who develops the waltz and the waltz music. And all of Europe, it spreads to the United States. He does a tour. He does a concert tour, waltz tour of the United States. 5,000 people attend to each of his, and they're all dancing waltz. So.
Yeah, to accommodate that growth in the music with the Strausses, both father and son, you know, they built the dance palaces and the dance gardens, and
yes. That
was the entertainment of the day.
Yeah, so a point being made here is to accommodate this, the fervent interest and enthusiasm for this new art form. They built a lot of concert halls and held concerts. And Johann Strauss, I just want to spend a minute on Johann Strauss. He was a composer, yes? Composer of all those great waltzes. He was also a violinist. I'm going to see if I can do a violin here. He's a violinist, right? And he was a conductor. And what he would do is he'd stand out there. He'd be at one of these concert halls with 5,000, 10,000 people. So he'd be there playing the bow in front once each week. You know, on the weekend, he'd be there with the bow. And while he's doing it, every once in a while, he pauses and gives a little flourish for the orchestra, you know. So he's conducting the orchestra while he's playing first violin up here, to the adulation of the Viennese populace. And this is going on for decades. You know, and he keeps coming up with new waltzes, and people love it. At any rate, in many ways you'd have to say, excuse me here, say walking stick again. How else do instructors get down from the podium without a proper walking stick? It was Johann Strauss was at the center of this. One of the things that I find personally difficult about this job is that with regular undergraduate classes, we have 15 weeks. You know, you got a nice period of time, and you kind of really develop things, and you know. But with these, we have 8 weeks. We're in our second to last class. And with the way things work, do you know the next time we'll be together?
March
14th. Is next year, which is a little hard because you know you say you at the end of things it's hard, it's painful. I find this with every class. It's come to an end and go, oh rats. So at any rate, I've had enough. And so something I've been wanting to do for a long time, often what you have at university is you'll have a lecture class, and then there'll be something that's more like a seminar, where you have a little bit of a smaller group, and you have a little more opportunity to go into some things a little deeper, and also have some more discussion. In other words, here, there's a lot of, I'm covering these great cities in their golden ages. It's a little hard, there's a lot of material to present. And so what I've got this series that's coming up. If you can pull the sheets out here just for a second, you have that. Great adversaries. One of the fascinating things for me in history is some of these historical conflicts. You get these great individuals and they lock horns or go head to head, and it's fascinating. Each of the figures in themselves is fascinating, but the dynamic between them and how the individuals relate to the historical situation. What's the context? In other words, when you look at figures like Robespierre and Marie Antoinette, well, what are the social, historical context for these confrontations? So what I'm wanting to do is on Sundays, Sunday afternoons, to have like a soiree, you know, an afternoon soiree. We're quite elegant, and we'll maybe have some cheese and crackers, and work out, maybe possibly at some point have a little wine, and have a possibility of getting together, and I could do a little talk, show some visuals, we can have discussion, and have basically a wonderful cultural time together. So, and this will begin on March 14th.